which comprises the government, the private sector, and development partners. As I started off by saying, Your Excellency, we spend money out there without coordination. Donors give money. People do little things here and there. There's no coordination. Government spends money. And for the private sector, we want to tell the public that GBV and femicide is a security issue. And if they don't help us to combat GBV, they will lose out in business. So we make it our collective effort to finance this fund. It is a perpetual fund. And Your Excellency, we are asking that the government ring fences from Treasury nothing less than 15 million per annum commencing financial year 2026-2027. And the development partners, some of them who have actually approached us and say, we have something. We put it in that fund. And what is the purpose of that fund? It would be to support survivors through emergency medical care. It will support psychosocial counseling and trauma care. It will help in legal aid, court support, and witness protection. It will provide for safe shelters, rescue centers, and temporary housing. It will help in economic integration of victims. Community education, and Your Excellency, we have requested you to launch this nationwide campaign, which is going to continue, and part of the funding will go into programs that will sustain that campaign. We want to engage men and boys in GBV prevention. Money will go there. School-based education on respect for equality and human rights, it will go there. Early warning and community protection, it will go there. Your Excellency, hope I'm not taking too much of your time, but I'm just about to finish. Now, we are also recommending the formation, the establishment of a multi-sectoral committee headed by somebody we are calling a chief coordinator who understands the philosophy and the ethos of this report, and the same to be located within the presidency. And its work shall be to undertake and oversee a cohesive and coordinated implementation of the recommendations of this report. We can't afford to lose it. It will also operationalize the GBV and femicide response fund. It will also undertake fundraising activities towards the fund. I believe, Your Excellency, that this team, the great team of 43 members of us that you appointed, has great potential. They have shown dedication, they have shown skill, they have shown understanding of the scourge of GBV, including femicide. I would not be overstretching if I said, as you put up this implementation committee, you can pick from one. I can vouch for any one of them, Your Excellency. Legislative reform, we have several, but I'll pick out the most important. We recommend, Your Excellency tasks the Attorney General to initiate immediate amendment of the Penal Code to define and codify femicide as a distinct offense separate from murder or general homicide. The other law that we are recommending is the enactment of what we are calling a Citizen Obligation Act, which will require all citizens to report any cases of GBV, including domestic violence, which is hitherto treated as a private act. Your Excellency, we came across very I don't know if they were amusing or saddening, but domestic violence is so rife. The beating, and that's where the women are dying. And yet, they can scream, and nobody turns up. In fact, we were told it is only dogs who come, which come. And then after the woman has died at the burial place, then everybody, this one we knew it was coming. And nobody reports to the police. Now, the Citizen Obligation Act will take care of that. That everybody, and if you do not report a violation, you will be held as complicit in the commission of the crime. So we also recommend a mandatory national GBV response training across all sectors, and teaching of human rights and gender-based violence and gender equality across all training and school institutions, from the lowest to the highest level. As I said, we have a beautiful constitution, but everybody is ignorant about it. And killing of women, killing of men is because of lack of respect for the human rights of those persons. And yet we have a good, rich human rights instrument. We recommend a one-stop GBV recovery center in every of the 47 counties to take care of legal aid, medical care, psychological support, shelter services, etc. Data system, we recommend the creation of a national GBV and a femicide observatory. And we have listed the functions. The data collection is a problem here. In conclusion, Your Excellency, and thank you so much for inviting us and giving us this opportunity, we are saying that normalization of this violence is a direct threat to our constitutional promise of the right to life and human dignity. It is a threat to our economy. And Your Excellency, statistics from the National Commission on Gender and Equality show that this country loses nothing less than 46 billion Kenya shillings per annum because of GBV. That is a huge dent in our economy, which if we injected in our economy, the dream of Singapore could be real. Thank you very much.
Honorable Lady Justice, you can hand over the report to His Excellency the President.
Cabinet Secretaries and Principal Secretaries present, the members of the Technical Working Group, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is also my pleasure to join you today as we receive this report. I will not repeat what has been said because that report is rich. We are going to interrogate it, but we want to state that this report anchors the efforts that have been put in place, and Your Excellency, the report that you are holding is a collective hope and expectations of millions of Kenyans. The Ministry of Gender, Culture and Children's Services is dedicated to coordinating the implementation of this recommendation in partnership with all state actors and non-state actors. The work of this task force marks not the end, but the beginning of a renewed, resourced and relentless national effort to realize a Kenya where every citizen is safe and has dignity. I thank Your Excellency for your steadfast leadership and your unwavering commitment to the empowerment and the protection of the people of Kenya. I'd just like to make a small correction from what the chair said. 15 billion is not enough. I think she meant 50 billion. So I think billion. Yes, because 15 million per year is not enough. It is then, how much was it? Billion, yes, not million. Yes, she meant 15 billion, not 15 million. So that is the kind of a budget we are looking at, but not only the budget, but we also, the campaign that she spoke about, where we go to every function, whether it is church, whether it is a school, whether it is any function, we will be speaking about it, because we need our country to be safe. We need our women and girls to be free. We need our boys and girls to enjoy the leadership of His Excellency the President. I want to agree with you, Chair, that the only way to Singapore is to support the work the President is doing through the building of affordable housing, the markets, but we will not enjoy working in those places unless we do away with GBV and femicide. So I will not add much. Allow me at this particular time just to ask that we all be upstanding to welcome His Excellency the President to speak to us. Welcome, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much, CS. Please, let's take our seats. Asante sana. We did get very robust report from the chair of the Technical Working Group on Gender-Based Violence. Therefore, I will be brief in my remarks because I think she has outlined for us what needs to be done, and we are better off getting started on what needs to be done. But allow me to thank the chairperson of the Working Committee, Dr. Nancy Baraza, and all members of the task force for their thorough and far-reaching work. I commend you for engaging Kenyans across the 47 counties, listening to survivors, listening to experts, communities, and institutions, and for confronting this painful national challenge with courage and depth. Listening to the recommendations that you have made, I am persuaded that you have identified the critical areas that if we address, we should be able to move the needle on this challenge. This report is more than a technical document. It is a reflection of voices, fears, and hopes of Kenyan people, especially survivors of gender-based violence. I have received and taken note of the contents of this report and its wide-ranging findings and recommendations on gender-based violence and femicide. The report lays bare the scale, complexity, and evolving nature of GBV in our country, affecting women, men, girls, and boys, with women and girls bearing a disproportionate burden. The findings on femicide, domestic violence, harmful cultural practices, and technology-facilitated abuse are deeply troubling and demand collective national reflection and action. I note key proposals in the report, including the call to treat GBV, including femicide, as a national crisis, requiring urgent and coordinated action. Recommendations for strengthened prevention, investigation, and prosecution, including specialized capacity within our law enforcement agencies. Proposals for legislative and policy reforms, including improved legal definitions, survivor protection, and accountability mechanisms. And the emphasis on coordinated financing, data systems, survivor-centered services, and national awareness and behavioral change. These recommendations speak to the need for institutional coordination, adequate resourcing, and a whole of government and a whole of society response. I wish to assure the nation that all recommendations will be carefully considered and subjected to due process in accordance with our Constitution and the law. The report will be reviewed through the appropriate government mechanisms, including the Cabinet, relevant ministries, departments, and agencies to determine policy, legislative, and administrative action. Where legislative reforms are proposed, they will be processed through the established constitutional and parliamentary procedures. Even as we consider this report, I wish to reiterate the government of Kenya's will and will continue to support and take decisive action to end the scourge of GBV in all its forms. Immediately, the CS responsible for this space will work with the colleagues, and within the next 1 month, we will have processed it through Cabinet under my chairmanship, and we will take the appropriate actions as have been recommended by the chair here. Violence against any Kenyan is unacceptable. Violence rooted in gender, power, or inequality is a betrayal of our Constitution, our values, and humanity. Protecting life, dignity, and safety is not optional. It is a core duty of a state. That said, however, ending gender violence is not the work of government alone. Parents and families and communities must nurture respect and non-violence from every home. Religious institutions must uphold the sanctity of life and dignity. Community leaders and elders must reject harmful practices and silence around abuse. We must all, as we have been implored here, reject violence around abuse. We've had men get beaten, but because they do not want to look weak, they cannot report. And then women are beaten on the other side, and because it is culture, they do not want to report. Otherwise, they make the men look like they are not doing the right thing in accordance to society's norms. So we end up with violence and a lot of silence around it. Security agencies must act firmly, professionally, and without fear or favor. Citizens must speak out, report abuse, and stand with survivors. Every Kenyan has a role to play in ensuring that GBV is prevented, reported, and punished. And therefore, I am very happy with the work that this committee has done, this task force has done. I commend you I went through the report, and I am persuaded beyond any doubt that you did apply your minds and effort appropriately. And as a means of ensuring that we pay you back, we will make sure that this report is implemented. And therefore, Waziri, you have your work cut out to process this through Cabinet. And if we need the services, the support, the input of any one of the members here, please allow us to reach out to you so that together we can see this report implemented. Let this report mark not an end, but a turning point from silence to action, from impunity to accountability, and from fear to safety. Together, as a nation, we must ensure that no Kenyan lives in fear because of their agenda. I thank you. My congratulations to all the members here, and you have brought out what was expected of this committee, and therefore we will roll the rest of government into action to make sure that we protect our families, we protect our children, we protect women, girls, boys, and everybody. Thank you very much. I know we were supposed to start this meeting earlier, but the earlier meeting that was here took longer, and I have another meeting that has just started. I have a virtual meeting with another 7 heads of state. You will allow me to cut short here and to wish you the very best. Asanteni sana.
Your Excellency, a quick photo, perhaps, a very quick photo. Let's take our seats. TWG, the TWG.